Everybody, good morning. Rise and grind. It is a thirsty Thursday here on the Dan Kasper Show, which is on air on your radio dials 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Also available online where you can stream us at sportstalk1051.com. Also get the link for the YouTube stream. Otherwise, you can subscribe on YouTube for free. Get your Google and Alexa home devices, and of course the Sports Talk app. What up, everybody? Hopefully you're all off to a fantastic start already early this morning. Big thanks for making us a part of your day. Maybe you were up a little bit early if you are paying attention to the Open, which going on right now. We already got golfers that are in the clubhouse, already done with their rounds. Tiger will be teeing off a little under for 3 hours from now. He's set to tee off like 8:59 our time, so he's got one of the later tee times out there. But they're all out on the course. They're putting up some low numbers already. Cameron Young through 12 holes, already 7 under par. Yeah, Rory McIlroy 4 under through 7. Hey, he's my pick to win it. Is Rory? Yeah, that was my pick to win it. So, but yeah, that's going on right now. So maybe some of you kind of getting up a little bit earlier, starting your day off with a little golf on the telly. Start off this morning, but yeah, there you go. Keep it posted if anything like big, I guess, happens or anything like that. But again, Tiger doesn't tee off until about 8:59 our time. So other stuff on the docket. We got a bunch of we're going to be all over the place here a little bit. Brewers losing yesterday. Josh Hader giving up a walk-off home run in the ninth inning there. So Brewers and Twins split their series. Now the Brewers off to the West Coast, where they will take on the Giants for 4 games before they get to the All-Star break. So 4 games starting tonight. Going to be some late games here for the first couple of nights. First pitch tonight, 8:45. But it is set up for the Brewers with their rotation. They've got they got 3 of their main dudes going at it. Corbin Burns is going to get the start tonight for the Brewers. You got Brandon Woodruff slated to start on Friday. Eric Lauer getting the start on Saturday. And then right now, Jason Alexander will be getting the start on Sunday. So with just this series left before the All-Star break, Brewers still holding on to a 2-game lead in the division over the St. Louis Cardinals. How much stock or how big are you kind of making this series out if you are a Brewers fan? Maybe in terms of just riding into the break with some momentum, or are we making it too much of a bigger deal about, going into the break with a bunch of momentum? Because, hey, great, if they take 3 out of 4, or, best case scenario, they win 4, awesome momentum in the break, but then that momentum maybe dies down because, well, they're off for 4 days for the All-Star break. So, I mean, how much are you kind of putting into this series? It seems like, I don't know, we'll have to kind of look it up, but it always kind of seems like Brewers maybe kind of falter in, struggle into the All-Star break. Remember, was it a couple years ago when they lost 5 games in a row to the Pirates? Remember that a couple years ago? Obviously, we're hoping they don't get swept by the Giants in 4 games here, but, I mean, how much are you kind of putting into this series? Are we making too much of it? Josh Hader, looking at his last few outings here, his last 7 games, he's actually 0-2, giving up 6 earned runs. Does have 11 strikeouts there, but yeah, you look at his last couple of outings here. Looking at the last few outings here for Josh Hader. Maybe some people are kind of like, hey, what's going on here a little bit with Josh there. You're looking at the month of July for him. He's already given up 6 earned runs, half of them coming from the game yesterday, though, with that 3-run shot there. But Josh, he isn't too concerned. The crew aren't, as they said, fretting over their closer right now. Josh Hader saying, how does the All-Star closer explain what's the recent results? Life and baseball. It was pretty quick right there. But he said that it's a quick turnaround for me, but I'm going to I'm not going to use that as an excuse, kinda talking about, the 2 games back to back there. The slider wasn't working the way it was Tuesday. Maybe I trusted it a little bit too much. And honestly, I mean, I feel like that's the mindset you have to have not only as a pitcher and a closer, but I mean, come on, it's all the sports. Nobody's gonna go out there and have fantastic outings every single day. Might go through some slumps and that, but the biggest thing is the mental part, and I think a lot of people kinda take it for granted a little bit is the mental part of all the sports. Like, I'll tell you right now, I sucked at the mental part of the game. I still suck at the mental part. Like, if I'm going out golfing or something like that, I get into my head too easily. I'm awful at it. I think that's one of these things that is so unique and, just one of the more underrated aspects when it comes to professional athletes is the mental aspect of the game. That ability to move on quickly. Some probably do it better than others. Some can just like, all right, move on. It's done. Bad one. Move on to the next. There's tomorrow. But some maybe struggle a little bit more. But I think that's that ability to just like, yep, all right. It was a poo-poo performance today, so we'll get them tomorrow. Wake up and do better. Wake up and be better. I've sucked at that, and I still do, even in every day, even in my job and all that. But that's one of the things that they make these athletes, these professional athletes, is these high-level athletes, college athletics too. It's like, man, the ability to turn that off and just kind of focus on the next day. I envy that. I envy that a lot. But predictions for this Brewers Giants series. You can hit us up with some text 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line there. So couple of things, just kind of some random stuff here. I was trying to come up with some fun and interactive kind of conversations here. I know it's kind of a little bit of a lull time for people. Maybe some are just kind of, yep, they're still paying attention to baseball, but it's a lot of baseball going on. And obviously you got summer league with the Bucks. I know Pat Connaughton's got up to a new deal and all that, but it's like, oh, okay, not a whole lot of moves for the Bucks. Bucks are kind of running it back with their current ball club from what they had last year. But and we got training camp now officially under 2 weeks away. So just trying to think of some fun, lighthearted little topics here, and I was got a couple of them here. So one of them. So I'm a big old documentary dude. Okay, I love watching documentaries. I love watching. I'm a big history nerd. I've always been that way. But if there's a good documentary, it could be, I don't know, like a true crime or sports or urban legends. I don't care. If it's a good one, I'm intrigued. And I binge watched one last night thanks to the Brewers having a day game. It was on Netflix. It just dropped yesterday, and I binge watched all 4 episodes. It was one about DB Cooper. Okay, you don't know about DB Cooper, that skyjack or a hijacker jumped out of a plane with a bunch of money. They never found him and all that in the 70s. Anyways, so I was sitting there watching that and, binged it because I was so into it. And I'm like, what's the biggest like sports myths, urban legends, sports lore out there? Like what would be like a sports version of these like stories like a DB Cooper or some of this other, like conspiracy theories, I guess we can kind of call it too. So I was like, what are some of the sports versions? What are some of these kind of like was there anything similar into the sports world? So I've got a list, but if you guys know off the top of your head, like, oh, that's got to be like one of the top sports myths, urban legends, lores, conspiracy theories, however the hell we want to describe it. So I was like, I Googled a bunch of them last night, got up a list and all that. And I was like, oh, I kind of forgot about that one and all that good stuff. But what's your favorite one? Do you have a favorite one? Like, even if you believe it or not, but you just kind of maybe chuckle at it, or you really think, oh yeah, that happened. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, it might be kind of hard to think about it right now, but a couple of them could be. Yeah, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. The Jordan flu game is still kind of talked about. Was it actually the flu? Was it food poisoning? And I know there's people that have conspiracies left and right about the whole thing. Babe Ruth calling his shot in the World Series. Did that actually happen? There's stuff like that. The Jordan, was he actually suspended? Another one with Jordan. Or, the whole baseball thing, would he have been suspended? Was it actually a suspension sort of thing because of gambling? That's being floated out there. So, a bunch of different ones. What's your favorite one? What's your favorite one? And this other one too. Again, it's just kind of a random couple of things. I want to get your brain juices flowing here a little bit. Thanks to the Packers tailgate tour. Anybody going to that thing? Anybody going to make a stop? I know they're going to be in Hudson. They're going to be Thorpe. I think in like La Crosse and Wausau and all that. But so they kicked that off yesterday. But I mean, these guys are on a bus, a few days a week, few days this week, 5, 6, how many ever days it is. The 5 people you'd want to be stuck on a bus for a week. The 5 people that you would want, and it's got to be like, don't pick your family. That's you probably want to, but like 5 people that you don't know, like you've never met, but that you'd like to be stuck on a bus for 5 days, or no, 7 days. Let's do 7 days, full week, okay? Kind of like a little Survivor bus RV edition, whatever. So think about that. That's kind of your question of the day too. And we got a couple other things I'm going to be throwing out throughout the morning here too. So just kind of some stuff to get the conversation flowing, right? Kind of in a lull here, maybe for some people. It's like, yeah, baseball's going on, but maybe you can only talk so much baseball, and you got the Open going on, but maybe you're not a golfer and all that, and you're just kind of like waiting for football season to get going. I don't know, but we got a few things, hopefully some fun things planned up here. So let's just get things rolling here this morning. Just jump right into it. I'll see if we got any texts coming in here in just a few minutes, but we'll kick things off talking about the Brewers. They split that 2-game series with the Twins. Now they've got a 4-game series with the Giants starting tonight. How big of a series is this for the Brewers? Or, maybe it's more bigger for you. And a lot of people kind of talk about going into the All-Star break on a high note, going in with some confidence, going with some momentum. But the fact that they have 4 days off right away, are we making a little bit of a bigger deal about it? What side of the aisle, what side of the fence are you on for this whole thing? Remember, after the All-Star break, it's going to be, I think we're going to start to hear more about trade rumors and reports and perhaps even during the All-Star break, because, by the time they're done with this series on the 17th on Sunday, they'll be back at it on the 22nd. You got less than 2 weeks then from the trade deadline. So I'm going to start to hear some more rumors and reports and all that fun stuff out there. But looking at this series against the Giants, how big of a series is this for the Brewers at this point in the season before they head into the All-Star break? And what are your predictions for this series? So start hitting me up, whether it's on the Shoe Doctor's bullpen line with a quick text, tweet, Facebook, YouTube Live, comments on the video stream, however you want to roll. Let's get right into it here this morning. First break, Wisconsin Credit Union opening drive coming up in just a couple minutes.
The Dan Kasper Show.
click on that Nation tab over there, and you'll see the sign up over there. All you got to do is type in your email and hit submit. That's all. So if you don't think it worked or anything like that, it's that simple. I know it's that simple where you're probably thinking it don't work or anything like that. So that's it. And then I'll get a hold of you in the next few days or so with some league information and all that good stuff out there, right? Getting ready for a little fantasy football. I'm getting excited for it. Yeah, I'm just getting. I don't know. I'm kind of getting a little bit of the itch right there for a little fantasy football. So, all right, G-Man, captain this series is going to be a great weekend. Brewers will win 3 out of 4. G-Man, I know you were at the game. Brandon was at the game again yesterday too. So you too. Don't know if you guys ran into each other or not. Surveyor best one, Jimmy Hoffa, buried under the Giant Stadium. Honestly, I think that might be my favorite one too. Like I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that's like this because I'm a nerd and I'm kind of weird like this. But whenever I watch a documentary of something like that, like I want to play detective and try to figure it out. Like I want to figure it out. I think that might be the one I want to figure out the most. Like we ever had like a sports. I know they did the Hoffa thing on MythBusters, I heard, but like if we ever did like a sports investigative series sort of thing, like that, the Jimmy Hoffa buried under the Giant Stadium or something like that. You know what I mean? So that's a good one. That's at least in my top few out there. I like your list too there with your 5 busmates. Teddy Roosevelt, just watched a documentary on him. I think it was Memorial Day weekend. Andre the Giant, Brett Favre, John Daly, George Carlin. Now that is quite the 5. Now I don't think you'll be bored on that bus trip by any means. Oh, that is a good one right there. So keep those babies coming. All right, keep them coming with some text, tweets, Facebook, or on YouTube there. All right, let's get things rolling here. Chatting a little Brewer. So Brewers falling yesterday to the Twins. Josh Hader giving up a walk-off 3-run shot. Brewers, I mean, their defense was there. Jonathan Davis, great grab in the outfield. You had Colton Wong making a diving play at second base, literally diving into the base to preserve a 1-1 tie there. But Brewers they couldn't get any more runs across. Brewers finished with just 4 hits, 0-6 with runners in scoring position. And the 20s, I mean, they had a little bit more guys left on base there too, but it don't matter. And when it's at the end, and yeah, they still scored more runs than the Brewers. So, but splitting that series, I know there's some concern about, or I shouldn't say, that might be a little too dramatic. Some talk about Josh Hader. Should we be concerned about him going through maybe a little bit of a funk? You look at the game last night, didn't record a single out, giving up that 3-run shot, 2 hits and a walk. Looking at the night prior, he went up and 3 strikeouts, 1 inning of work. Before that, he had been giving up a run in his last 3 games. Before that, 1 game before the first game against Minnesota. So against Pittsburgh, gave up a run. Cubbies, gave up a run. Cubbies again on the 4th of July, gave up a run. So in the month of July, he has given up 6 earned runs so far, half of them coming from that Twins game yesterday. But the whole month of June, he had just given up 3 earned runs. In the month of May, no earned runs. In the month of April, no earned runs. And he has already given up 2 home runs so far in the month of July and gave up 2 in June, none in the first 2 months of the season. Hader isn't that concerned, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, saying it's life, it's baseball. It's moving on right now. And remember, Hader's not going to be at the All-Star game. He's gonna spend some time with his family and his newborn, and maybe getting away from the game here a little bit too, and just getting some extra little R&R for the final push of the season here too. But at this point, I mean, I'm not that concerned about Josh Hader. He was off to a fantastic start at the beginning, first 2 months of the season. I mean, he was just on a roll. From April through May, his ERA was a 0. I mean, he was just lights out, literally lights out. And then, June kind of coming down to earth here a little bit. July, a couple of outings here where it's been a little bit of a struggle, but you know what? I'm not too concerned right now. You look at the track record of Josh Hader. Yes, he's had moments about where he's gone through a couple of rough stretches and all that, but still pretty darn talented. And maybe he just needs this little all-star break coming up here. Maybe that's exactly what he needs. Get away from baseball, all that stuff. So, but looking at the game for tonight, again, we got 8:45 first pitch. Coverage will begin about 35 minutes prior. We got Corbin Burns on the mound for the Brew Crew, and we got some intriguing pitching matchups. And we got one tonight with Carlos Rodon with the Giants, who is 8-5 with a 2.70 ERA. Corbin Burns bringing his 7-4 record with a 2.20 ERA. And you look at what Corbin has been doing in his recent outings, and he has been logging some innings. I mean, he's been the horse. He's been the ace so far. Last outing against the Cubs on the 6th, he went 7 innings, giving up just 3 hits, no earned runs. Pittsburgh on the 1st, 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run. Toronto, 7 2/3, where he gave up 3 earned runs. The 20th against the Cardinals, 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs. You go back to the 15th, June 15th, he is he's won 4, 4-0 in his last 5 games, if my math is right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 4-0 in his last 5 games. He didn't get the decision against that Cubs game on the 6th, even though he went 7 innings and given up 3 hits and no earned runs. So Corbin Burns is on fire right now. He is literally on fire. Pitching like the Cy Young that he is. See if that can continue tonight for the Brew Crew. But you look at some of the experience between these lineups going up against Corbin Burns and Carlos. But for the Giants lineup going up against Burnsy, you have Brandon Bell, who's 510 at bats. Jack Peterson's 410 at bats. Those are the big ones out there. Brandon Crawford's just .091 against him in 11 at bats. On the flip side here, Brewers hitters going up against Carlos. Willie Adames is 429 and 7 at bats. Colton Wong is just 125 and 8 at bats. Christian Yelich just a 143 and 7 at bats. Then you got a handful of just a couple of at bats. So I mean, Willie Adames is really the only one who's had some consistent success against Carlos, and we'll see about Yelich and his availability. Craig Counsell saying yesterday that his back was feeling better, but they still gave it another day. I don't know if he's going to be able to go today, or they're just going to kind of maybe sit him out for this series so he gets a longer break when you add in the All-Star break coming up here. But we'll see. But Keston Hero was sent down to AAA, bringing up another pitcher with the bullpen, getting a fresher arm and all that stuff in there. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a quick, run down to AAA, and maybe he's back after the All-Star break and that stuff. But yeah, we'll see what the hope is that Yelich will be able to play by Friday. He is questionable for today, according to Brewers.com, but the hope is that he will be able to play by Friday. Yelich saying, I was doing a better job of staying on the field. Obviously, I've had to manage this thing over the years. It's frustrating when it pops up. We kept it in a pretty good place, stayed on it. I was just kind of getting loose, and it decided that was enough. It just kind of tightened up, and I could feel it grab and go. And once that happens, it's a wrap. It's a different spot than it usually is, though, which is good. So I don't think this one will be a long time by any means, which is good news, not like last year. Hope not. But we'll see. Your predictions for the series? I hate to be that person, but I think I'm going to go with 2. Another split. Another split. And in regards to like how big is this series? I mean, we all want some momentum, right? We don't want to go into the All-Star break and have them lose 3 out of 4 or worst case scenario get swept in 4 games by the Giants, right? We don't want that. We want the Brewers, if you're a Brewers fan, I know we got some Cards fans, but if you're a Brewers fan, you want to go into the All-Star break still leading the division, right? You want to go in on a high note. You want to go in with some confidence. So I'm a big believer in momentum. I'm a big believer in that, but I'm also a believer in that momentum can go away just like that too on some downtime. And even if they take 3 out of 4, they somehow take all 4 from the Giants. Well, I'd love it if the Brewers would be able to play another series right after that, but they're going to have that break. So maybe that just kind of trickles off here. But, looking at the upcoming schedule after this, you've got, you go back home with 4 games against Colorado. Then you finish up your series against Minnesota before you go off to the road against Boston, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, and then finally the Cardinals again halfway through August, starting on the 12th there. So, I mean, I want the Brewers to be able to go into the All-Star break here on a high note because I think they've got some winnable series coming up here and potentially an opportunity to gain more space in the division, if you will. I mean, you got Colorado coming to town. Should be able to win that series, 4 games. Minnesota, we just got done seeing them. Boston, I know they're playing better, and it's at Boston. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, winnable series. Tampa Bay for 2 more games before that St. Louis game. And then there's that stretch, right when that Cardinal series starts on April 12th. You've got 3 games on the road against the Cardinals. Then you're back home for 4 in a row against the Dodgers. So that's 7-game stretch right there. In fact, if you want to add it out, you got so after that 4 games against the Dodgers, you've got 3 on the road against the Cubbies, but then you're back to the West Coast for a quick trip against the Dodgers. So that stretch of games in August 12th through the 24th, you've got 3 games against the Cardinals and 7 games against the Dodgers, with 3 mixed in there with the Cubs. And the thing is, no off days either. There is no off days between the 12th and the 24th of August. I know, getting a little bit far ahead of myself here looking at this schedule, but I guess that's kind of the point too where I'm looking at heading into this All-Star break, going in on a high note. So you get that confidence, maybe get a little momentum, feeling good when you come back from the All-Star break. Everybody wants to go into a little vacation feeling good. You want to be in a good mood going on vacation, right? You come back, you're rejuvenated, you're freshed up, and let's get off to a hot start right after that All-Star break. And the Brewers have that opportunity with their schedule immediately after the All-Star break. They can do that because they're going to have to stack up some wins right away before that really tough stretch from August 12th through the 24th. It opens up a little bit more then. You're at home against the Cubbies and the Pittsburgh Pirates, on the road against the Diamondbacks, on the road against Colorado. Got that 1 game against San Francisco, and then Cincinnati before they face the Cardinals for the final time and on September 13th. But that's kind of where I'm looking at this heading into the All-Star break. You got your horses lined up here with Corbin and Brandon Woodruff. Yep, you're going to go against some solid pitching from the Giants too. But this offense has got to give these pitchers some runs to work with. Give them a little bit of help over there. Let's get into this All-Star break on a positive note. And then once we're back next weekend, finishing up this regular season, let's get off to a hot start right away. Use that momentum heading into the little vacation here. Pick it right back up. Rack up some wins because it's going to be a tough stretch in August. Heck, we could even add those 2 games against Tampa Bay on there too, right before that Cardinal series if we wanted to. August 9th through the 24th. Tampa Bay, Cardinals, Dodgers, Cubbies, Dodgers. one off day in between there. Whew, that's going to be a tough stretch. But I'm going to pick 2 out of 4, but I think they get the win with Burnsy and Woodruff. I'll go with Burnsy and Woodruff with the wins. All right, let's take a quick break. I'll see if we got any texts and all that good stuff out there. If you haven't, 715-830-1912. 715-830-1912. Quick break. See if we got any more picks on the best sports-related urban legends, conspiracies, lore, all that good stuff. And the 5 people that you want to be stuck on a bus for a whole week. Can't be family. Got to be people you've never met before, all right? Hit me up with your picks. Quick break. We'll be back after these words.
Hey, it's Alex here.
here this morning. Still Cameron Young, 7 under, it looks like. Let me just double check, refresh that. Yeah, still Cameron Young, 7 under through 14. Ernie Els is up there, tied for second right now at 4 under. Look at you, Ernie. DeChambeau is also at 2 under. Where the heck did Rory go? I'll have to look where Rory went on this thing. He was up there, but why can't I see his name? Oh, there he is, tied for second still. 4 under at 9. Okay, through 9. So a couple of texts and tweets to get to on Twitter. At Big Worm 1004, the Montreal screw job between Vince McMahon, Shawn Michaels, and Bret the Hitman Hart. Was it actually scripted? Did Paul Crewe actually throw that game, costing hundreds of the Khans money? Good ones right there. Drew from Eau Claire going with, I'm riding that bus with Albert Einstein, George Strait, Ryan Reynolds, Bob Uecker, and Morgan Freeman. Now that is a mixture right there. That's quite the five dudes right there. You won't be bored on that bus ride, that's for sure. All right, let's take a quick phone call here this morning. What's on your mind this morning here, C-Bomb?
Good morning, Al Capitano. Happy Thursday, and I'll tell you my 5.
Okay, go for it.
If you want them.
Yeah.
Okay. Numero uno is Brett Favre. Number 2, Pat McAfee, Bill Burr, Bob Uecker, and Jamal Williams. I want my stomach to hurt. I'd be laughing the whole time.
That's another. So you pretty much went all comedy, it seems like.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Brett Favre. He's like Brett Favre and Jamal Williams are my 2 favorite Packers ever. You know.
Jamal Williams.
Love him.
Favorite?
His personality is. He's one of my top 2 favorite players. Just as in people, not necessarily what they do on the field. But I love Jamal Williams. I was so bummed when they let him go. But yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I did not know that. Do you have a Jamal Williams jersey then?
No, I do not.
Well, then you can't have him as your top 2. You can't have it, man.
Well, fine. I'll go buy a Jamal Williams jersey. He's awesome, man. That guy's energy. I mean, and he's just hilarious. You know, every interview he's such a dope, and he's not trying to be. It's just his personality. God, the guy's just hilarious. I love watching. I pull up his clips from Detroit just to watch his interview clips. I mean, the guy's just a riot.
Yep. No, I agree. I had a chance to interview him, and I totally get what you're saying. Totally get it.
Yeah. Lucky man you are. Lucky man. Yeah, he's a good dude. I wish I could have a few minutes to twist his ear on a bus. Like I said, with that group, I'd die laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, who's your 5?
Honestly, I got to think about it here a little bit. I've got it to 7, so I got to cut it down here between breaks and that. I can never cut it down to the number I throw out to everybody else.
Oh, come on, Dan. You overthink everything.
No, I don't. I don't overthink it. I want to make sure this is the one because you never know. It might happen. It might happen at some point. And I'm kind of going through my head too that I'm kind of going through my head. Should it be current people, or can we throw in, people from the past that are no longer with us?
Well, that wasn't part of the thing, so then throw that one away.
Okay, because, I would put Don Hudson and Vince Lombardi on my bus if they were still around. But if we're doing just people that are currently on planet Earth right now, then it changes it up a little bit. So let me think about it.
There you go.
I'll think about it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Another. So you switch over to the urban legends, and there's one urban. It's not really an urban legend, but it's a fact that people think is a fact that really isn't. And that's the one where Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team. Because he never got cut. He was a freshman. He just didn't make varsity. He ended up playing JV and being a stud on the JV team. So that's one urban legend that, it always rubs me the wrong way when I hear people say, oh, he got cut from his high school team. Well, he didn't get cut. He just didn't make varsity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's not a bad one. Yeah, he was never really cut. He was placed on the junior varsity team to develop more. I didn't think there's a lot of them. It seems like that surrounds Jordan when you think about it. You got the flu game.
Yeah.
You got this. You got was he going to be suspended for a year? Seems like there's a bunch of them surrounding Jordan when it comes to when it comes to myths and urban legends and all that stuff.
Well, it tends to happen when you're talking about the greatest of all time, right? I'm sure there's going to be plenty of urban legends about one Aaron Rodgers one day.
Do you count Deflategate as an urban legend?
Oh, I count it as a joke myself, but yeah, I think that's something people will talk about. I think we made a really big deal about balls that were a little bit underdeflated. I mean, there's worse things that have happened. I still can't believe how huge of a story that was, and for how long it was a big story.
Yeah, I just thought of that because I was trying to think of some other goats that had a bunch of like urban legends and myths or anything like that. I mean, there's stuff out there about Tiger and that, but I was trying to think of any for Brady, and that's the only one I could think of off the top of my head was Deflategate.
Well, you got, was it Wilt Chamberlain and all the ladies?
20,000 ladies, yeah.
Yeah.
20K.
And he's still alive.
No, he's not.
I don't know if I can believe that.
He's not alive.
Oh, yeah, hello. Yeah, you see, I told you I'm not a basketball guy, Dano. Well, he lived a long time for you know, you'd think 20,000 people, he would catch something that would make his life a little bit shorter. But yeah, there's a lot of crazy urban legends out there. Maybe you need to come up with the top 5.
Another list, top 5 sports urban legends or myths.
Yeah, you love your urban legends and myths.
I do.
You know,
I want to solve the DB Cooper case now after watching that doc. You know, that's another point too. Is like when people always discredit Bigfoot. It's like, you know what? They never figured out who the heck DB Cooper was. The guy jumped out of a plane, for crying out loud, and they never still can figure out. They can't figure that guy out. So no kidding, you can't find Bigfoot. You can't figure out who jumped out of a plane. You're not going to figure out where Bigfoot's at. Just saying.
You jumped right ahead of me, man, because I was going to drop a Bigfoot, you know, and yeah, you and your Bigfoot legend. There's got to be a Bigfoot, right? Where's he at, Dan? Where is Bigfoot hiding?
Pacific Northwest.
You're sure?
That's, Pacific Northwest on the West Coast over there. 100%.
You always talk about never going on a vacation. Maybe that should be your vacation, a Bigfoot hunt.
Yeah, I know they've done them around here. They've done them in Wisconsin and that, but I don't know. I don't want to pay for anything like that. I'd rather just go walk in the woods myself and see if I see anything. I'm not going to pay for something that, you know, another dude might be hiding in the woods doing a Bigfoot call or something.
Oh, damn, that's great. I'll tell you what, man. So you think the Brewers are going to split? I'm throwing you another curveball. We only got a few minutes here. So you're calling a split with San Francisco?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mid-season grade for you. We're coming up on the All-Star break. What are the Brewers? What's their grade up to the All-Star break for you?
C plus.
C plus.
B minus, C plus, so somewhere around there.
Okay.
And
I'm in the same camp. I was thinking right around a C. And what is that saying to us if we are giving them a C and they're leading their division?
That's true.
You know?
I mean, you know, maybe the other question of that too is, has Christian Yelich lived up to your expectations so far this year?
Nope.
No?
Not to mine. For me, Christian Yelich, my expectation for him is, you know, I think he should be hitting 275, and by the end of the year, he should have 30 bombs. And he's not, and now he's hurt again. So, I don't know. I'd like to see him improve a little bit on what he's been doing, but I think that the bats as a whole have been a C. I think the pitching's been great. I would give the pitching probably you know, they're hurt right now, but still, I'd give them a B plus, A minus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but,
yeah.
The bat.
Has the offense gone past
Go
your
ahead.
expectation with the long ball that they've displayed as a whole?
No, I don't think so. I think this offense, we knew the last few years it's been the same thing. They live and die by the long ball, and the list of players that we have starting in our lineup that aren't even batting 250 is something that it drives me nuts. And you touched on it a little bit yesterday when you were talking sabermetrics, and it's like the batting average has gone to the wayside. Well, I hate that. Batting average is one of the most telling things, I think, over the long duration of a season. If you're batting 300 or 333, you're getting on one every 3 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
These guys that are batting in the low 200s, even if they're getting you 20 bombs on the season, that ain't enough. If you're hitting 200 and you're still in the lineup, you need to be a 40 home run guy, in my opinion. And I'm just that old curmudgeon. I've said it twice this week. I expect, the way the game has changed, I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
The bunt has gone away. You don't even see a lot of, there's no sacrifice bunts. They hardly ever bunt for a hit. If you don't like the shift, bunt it down the third baseline if you're a lefty, or slap it down the other way. It's just, yeah. The batting averages plummeting is really frustrating for me.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you're the only one. So, all right, dude. Anything else in your mind before I let you go?
Nope. Just for all you Rockfesters out there, have yourselves a great, safe weekend. I'd love to be out there today, but I got to work today and tomorrow. So,
what about Saturday?
I won't be there. Well, the weekends, when it's not football season, Dan, the weekends go to my wife because she gets the nice weather. So whatever she wants to do, we do on the weekend. So it's up to her. But that's football season's coming, so the weekends are kind of limited here for her.
What I've noticed is that you haven't signed up for the Fantasy Football League.
I'm going on there today. I didn't realize I was gone last week. I was out of the country. Remember, I didn't realize that was up. So
I was gone last week too.
Yeah, I have no other excuses. I can't make one up. I'm getting on there today, though.
All right, do it up. All right, time's running out.
Right on, my brother. Thank you for having me, Dano.
You got it. There you go. There's C-Bomb hopping off there a little bit. So we got a couple minutes to the top. Let's have a little fun next hour. So the best sports urban legends, myths, conspiracy theories, however the heck you want to phrase it. We'll go through a bunch of them. Come up with our top 5. The Sports Talk listeners' top 5 list there. We'll hit that up. Also, who's your 5 that you want to be in a bus for a whole week? For a whole week, you got to be stuck with these 5 individuals that you don't know. Who would you want it to be? Who would you want it to be? So text those babies on over, tweet, Facebook, YouTube. You guys know the drill, all that good stuff. So we'll hit that up. I also have another. I saw this from CBS Sports on Twitter yesterday, and I thought it was an interesting question. So I'll give it to you right now. The quarterback who would have had a different career if drafted by a different team. So which quarterback do you think maybe would have had a better career if they were drafted by a different organization, a different franchise? The first name that popped in my head was, could you make the case for Josh Rosen? I mean, how many times have we seen a quarterback drafted high, and then the next couple of years, they're out of the league, next few years, maybe for some people, they might throw Mitchell Trubisky into that equation as well. But which quarterback or quarterbacks, plural, you think if they were drafted by a different organization, a different franchise, that maybe their career would have turned out better? Or, we can kind of, I guess, turn it around. Career might have been different, like in a negative sense. Maybe that's Aaron Rodgers. Maybe it's Aaron Rodgers. If he was drafted by the 49ers, would Aaron Rodgers have developed into being the Aaron Rodgers that he is today? Because they probably would have played him right away. Was Aaron ready to play right away? Didn't seem like it. Think about that for a little bit. 1 in, 2 more to go. Quick break. We'll be back after these quick words.
WAYY. Oh,
All right, here we go. Second hour kicking off on this Thirsty Thursday. It is a Thirsty Thursday, so if you want to give any shout-outs to anybody or anything, make sure you hit us up with some text, tweets, Facebook, or comments on the video stream, all right? Give a little virtual toast or a little virtual cheers, radio cheers to anybody or anything out there, all right? Thirsty Thursday coming at you. Let's hear it. So send those babies on over. Coming up this hour, we're going to have a little fun. Going to go through a list of some of the best sports urban legends, mysteries, conspiracy theories, lore, however the heck you want to describe it. Got that out there. Some of you have been chiming in already with your picks. Good ones out there. Also, the 5 people that you would want to be stuck on a bus for a week. People you don't know, can't pick them. It's in honor of the Packers tailgate tour. Are they still calling it tailgate tour, or is it road trip, whatever the heck they're calling it now? That's going underway right now. And then the question I kind of threw out there before the break, the quarterback who would have had a different career if drafted by a different team. You can go with a positive way or a negative way on this one, however you want to go about it. Okay, you decide, but make your picks. Okay, I want to chat a little Bucks here, a little Bucks nugget coming up here. Before that, let's do some sports nuggets of the day. 1951, the first sports event to be shown in color on CBS TV was the Molly Pitcher Handicap at Oceanport, New Jersey. A little horse racing right there. 1968, Hank Aaron hit his 500th career home run. Eddie Matthews, 1967, the year before with the Astros, hit his 500th career home run. And then in 1981, the All-Star game was postponed because of a 33-day-old baseball players' strike. The game was held on August 9th. So those are just some of your sports nuggets for this morning. So it was revealed that Chris Middleton underwent a left wrist ligament surgery earlier this month, according to reports out there. You might have saw this on the social medias, that he underwent surgery for a left wrist ligament injury. Now, the reports out there from like Woj and all that are saying that he's expected to be fully recovered to return sometime near the start of the regular season. So, okay. However, if you follow his Pro Football Doc, he used to be like the team doctor for the Chargers. Now he has a Twitter account. He's won like during the football season. If you're watching games and you see like an injury, he'll kind of like tweet it based off of like he'll try to come up with a diagnosis or try to figure out what it is based off of the video feed on there. And he had retweeted an article. And it looks like they've got their own website, and he's part of this too. David Chow is his name. But he's skeptical, it sounds like, that Chris Middleton will be ready by the start of the regular season. Just reading a little bit here. While the reports say the Bucks expect him back for the start of the regular season, the Pro Basketball Docs expect the recovery, even in the best case scenario, to bleed into the season. So they believe he won't be ready for the start of the regular season. That's going to be a good question if we got Dr. Crow on tomorrow for Inside the Training Room to get his thoughts on this and his feelings on there. But, I mean, if Chris Middleton's not ready for the beginning of the season, you know, maybe it'll just be the couple weeks or anything like that. But one of the things that I kind of wanted to chat a little bit about, too, is, like, you know, we got Pat Connaughton, who just signed a new deal. He picked up his option, but the Bucks agreeing to a 3-year deal with him too, so he's going to be around here for a little bit. Bobby Portis, we know, is back, and really, you know, Bucks kind of running it back with their squad from last year. Outside, you know, a couple players there, Inglis and that. But right now, do you think this Bucks team, unless they make a big trade, you know, this is what we got for this Bucks team, unless they make a big trade, unless they move Brook Lopez somewhere, I don't know. I know there were some rumors they could be potentially interested in Eric Gordon. Like, there was some rumblings that they tried to trade for him before the draft. They offered like a first-round pick, a package that included first-round picks and all that good stuff. But You know, unless they make a big trade, this is the Bucks team that we're going to have right now. Is it good enough? Are you good with it? Are you good enough, or are you satisfied with who's on this Bucks roster? Now you got to factor in the whole Chris Middleton injury situation here, where he might miss the beginning part of the season. And I know there's going to be people asking, why didn't he have the surgery sooner? Why didn't he get it done right away? Until we hear from Middleton, that's going to be a little bit of an unknown out there. But maybe kind of surprised some people too, because he missed big portion of the postseason because of that knee MCL with that knee injury. So I was reading on the article this morning from the Sports Injury Central that he likely suffered the torn ligament after landing awkwardly on his left wrist on March 19th. He missed 4 of Milwaukee's final 11 games and likely aggravated the injury on another fall on April 3rd. All right, so you good with the Bucks essentially just running it back with this ball club? The big factor, I think, in the Eastern Conference, if we're just kind of looking at it and comparing the Bucks to the rest of the Eastern Conference, like, is this Bucks team, if they're fully healthy, are they better than the Celtics? Can they beat the Celtics? They took the Celtics to 7 games last year without Chris Middleton. So if we use the Celtics as a barometer right now, you think the Bucks can beat the Celtics fully healthy? I think they can. But the unknown right now is what the heck's going to go on with Brooklyn. What's going on with Brooklyn? Are they going to trade KD and Kyrie or not? And if so, are they going to trade them within the conference? Because it sounds like the Heat really want Kevin Durant. They really want Kevin Durant. But what are the Heat going to give up to get Kevin Durant? I mean, when you got a big name out there and you got Pat Riley running an organization, Pat Riley's going to try to do something to get that big name. He's at least going to be making some phone calls and trying to do some deals and all that stuff. But, I mean, KD goes to the Heat, pairing it up with Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry. Is that a better team on paper than what the Bucks have? Heat were the number 1 seed last year. Granted, they're going to be giving up some of those. A popular name out there that would be like Tyler Herro would have to be part of that trade for Brooklyn. So it's a little bit of a. I don't want to necessarily ask are the Bucks the best team right now in the Eastern Conference. That's why I'm asking. Right now with this Bucks squad, are you satisfied with what they've done in the offseason so far? Are you satisfied with it? Are you good with it? Because essentially they're running it back. Unless they make a big trade, unless they decide to move on from, I don't know, Brook Lopez or whatever have you. Because they don't really have a whole lot left in cap space. I think they might still have their, no, they don't even have their veterans because they brought back Serge. So they'd have to do swinging and moving some pieces around, whether it's like, would they trade Grayson Allen after giving him a new contract and that too? I don't know. That's the one thing though too with John Horst is that, even after he's signed some players, he's moved on from him. Eric Bledsoe gave him a contract, wasn't working out, shipped them out. They got Drew Holiday. So he has shown that willingness to move on, even though if he's given a player a new contract. But how does this Chris Middleton news kind of affect your opinion on the offseason with the Bucks so far too? We're like, maybe at the beginning he's like, I really wanted the Bucks to address the 2-guard spot, bringing in a shooting guard, another guy that can create, another shooter. Now that Middleton might be missing some time at the beginning of the season, I really, really, really wish they would have been able to bring in a 2-guard or another shooter, someone that can create. I mean, the season's not going to be lost at the beginning, but we would have loved to have love to see everybody healthy to begin the season and ready to go. But again, I think with this ball club, with the current makeup, what it is right now, yeah, they can get out of the Eastern Conference. Why not? You still got the best player in the league, in my opinion, Giannis. They've gotten a more typical off season right now for the Bucks. Maybe, with Middleton and Drew Holiday. Just the other day I was looking at my Facebook memories, and that was when the Bucks won the championship. So it was just, you got to remember last year. I don't want getting it mixed up here. Yeah, it would have been last year. Season went because of the whole kind of recovering from the COVID stuff and that. NBA Finals was later. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton jumped into the Olympics right away. Not a typical longer normal off season. It is this year. So Bucks will be, I would think, a little bit more rested. Legs a little bit fresher. But I think this team still is good enough to get out of the East. I think the Bulls are going to still present a challenge within their division if they can stay healthy. Don't discredit the Bulls. And again, a lot's going to depend on KD and Kyrie and Brooklyn. What's that going to look like? Are those guys going to move on? And what about the Sixers? We throw in the Sixers there too with Harden and Joel Embiid. I mean, there's competition in the Eastern Conference. There's no doubt about it. But I think right now, I'd still pick the Bucks as a top 3 team in the East. All right, let's take a quick break here, and then let's get into the greatest sports urban legends. The greatest urban legends, conspiracy theories, lore, and sports history. There's some good ones out there. Some of you have given yours on there. So I've Googled a bunch. I've got the list. Got my list on here. But if you want to add some more, if you got some that are on your mind, hit me up. Okay, with a quick text or tweet, Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. Okay, we'll take that quick break, and then coming up, let's do a little unsolved mysteries, or I'm gonna have to get the Robert Stack trench coat and unsolved mysteries theme song out going for this one. All right, quick break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. that we're trying to give away to all of you out there, and some sign up stuff and all that good stuff. A lot of stuff in there. A lot of yeah. But anyways, we are taking your fancy football signups over there. We've got some Eau Claire Cavs tickets we're giving away if you want to sign up to win those. We got the express tickets up there too. Tomorrow is going to be the last day. We're going to be handing out the last ones of the gas pass, the $50 gas certificates from River Country Co-op. So make sure you sign up for that if you want your chance to win $50. You want to win an Amazon Echo Dots. Bunch of stuff on there for our prize dugout there. So again, head to our website, sportstalk1051.com, and click on the Nation tab over there to sign up and win. All right, let's get this thing rolling. So the other day, yesterday, I was binge watching this new documentary that dropped on Netflix. I'm a big nerd when it comes to like a good documentary, right? Whether it's a sports one, true crime, myths, legends, it don't matter. I get sucked into it. And there was a new one that dropped yesterday about DB Cooper. Anybody that don't know who DB Cooper is? It's from the 70s. He hijacked the plane, got 200K, then jumped out of the plane, and nobody has figured out who the man is, what happened to him. They found some of the money washed up on a shore bank, but they've got no idea who this person is, never been found. There's been theories left and right of who it is. You know, internet investigators have tried to figure this out. They've got their quote-unquote suspects and that, and I always thought that'd be cool to figure out something like that. I'd love to be like an investigator. I remember I took a test. Remember those tests in school, like 7th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade? It was telling you what you should like, what you're going to be or what you should be when you grow up. One of them, I'm not even kidding, one of them was a secret agent. Although I couldn't do that. I'd like to think I could. I know I couldn't do it though. But I'd love to be like figuring out mysteries and all that sort of stuff. But anyways, when I was watching, I binge watched the whole thing. It was really good. If you guys want to check it out if you're into that stuff. But I was like, what would be like a sports edition of some like urban legends or the best sports urban legends, mysteries, conspiracy theories, whatever, however we want to phrase this. Okay. So there's some good ones out there. There were some that, I was looking them up and I'm like, kind of forgot about them. One of them that you probably won't find a lot on like the top 25 or top 10 list that people have put out there, but it's a Packers one. Okay. Now, there was an article written, it's been a few years. I don't know if it's been 10 years, but it's been a few years about Rockwood Lodge in Green Bay with the Packers. Now, if you don't know what Rockwood Lodge is, okay, so it's 2020. It was in 2020. It looks like it's only been a couple years old. I thought it was longer than this. But anyways, Rockwood Lodge was this kind of like Curly Lambeau bought this lodge in this area for the Packers and their players to essentially have their training camps. Okay. It was a place for the players and their families to go as a training facility that was used by the Packers from 1946 to 1950. Kind of a retreat and all that. But so before that, the Packers had their training camp up in Rylander, Wisconsin at Pinewood Lodge, it was called. But Curly Lambeau wanted to develop a training facility where his players and their families could live together for the entire season. In comes Rockwood Lodge. So in 1946, he convinced the Packers board of directors to purchase Rockwood Lodge. Now, the lodge, if you've kind of heard like some of the practice stuff and some of the stories, it wasn't the greatest place for practice. I mean, the ground was apparently like really hard and players, had injuries on it and, players really took a beating on those practice fields. And so it cost a lot of money. It cost the Packers a lot of money to purchase this. And we know, if you know your Packers history, there's been times where the Packers have gone through some financial troubles. Well, 1950, the lodge caught on fire. It was empty except for the caretaker and his family. Now, the family was unharmed and that, but the building was completely burned down except for some of the stone stuff like chimneys and that. But the conspiracy or the myth or the legend surrounding this is that, was the lodge deliberately set on fire for insurance money? The cause of the fire was, from what I was looking up again to kind of refresh my memory yesterday, was never really figured out, but they just kind of figured faulty wiring or a lightning strike was suspected. But because of the Packers' financial issues and the lack of a clear cause for the fire, there was this speculation, this rumor, this myth or legend that started that they start the fire on purpose to collect the insurance money and to, get out of their financial woes. And these rumors were brought back up again by this ESPN article from, I guess, just a couple years ago. But, I remember reading it thinking, oh, that's, and if you know a little bit about Curly Lambeau and his past and some of the stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, that probably wouldn't be too far off of what Curly Lambeau would do. But I talked to Cliff Crystal about this. I've asked him about this. He's the Packers team historian. And he shot it down right away. He's like, no. That didn't happen. No. Shot it down right away. And he kind of he made some shots to ESPN and that article too. So he completely shot it down. Said, no, that did not happen. It wasn't set on purpose or anything like that. But those rumors are out there that, the Packers set that on fire. So that's one of them that kind of I thought of right away in a more of a, I guess, local sense. Big time sports, urban legends and that. Rockwood Lodge, Green Bay, Packers. I feel like a lot of, maybe even some Packers fans didn't realize that they had like a training camp facility, a lodge 46 to 50. I think a few years ago, they kind of did some like archaeology stuff over there too. Because it's like a park, I believe now. I haven't seen it in person, but I think it's like now a park in that. But yeah, and I remember reading a story too. Like I think it was like caretaker's family. They had some of the stuff. Like they had a Don Hudson jersey and all that. I'm like, dang it, Don Hudson jersey. I'm jealous right there. But anyway, some of the other bigger ones out there. So I've got a list, and Michael Jordan's like, he's on here a few times. The mystery that surrounds MJ, his airness. You got a couple of them out there. The big one is probably the one that's really kind of sparked up in conversation in the last few years, 10 years or so, has been, his time off, that 1 year that he took off from basketball where he went to go play baseball. Was that a wink handshake agreement that, it was because of his gambling issues that he was going to be suspended for a year, but because the NBA, David Stearns, didn't want to, suspend their best player for a year. So instead of, having that kind of attention, Jordan, quote, retired, went to play baseball for a year, then came back. There's that one. That one's always been out there. There's, I know Stearns when he was still alive. David Stern was still alive. He said, nope, not true in that. And Jordan downplayed it in that, but it's still out there. It's still out there. And then the other one with Jordan that's kind of really maybe sparked up a little bit more since the Last Dance documentary has been the flu game. Now, there's been people, was it really the flu? Was it food poisoning? Was it the pizza? I just saw something again the other day where, there's theories people are floating out there for all this stuff. And I think a big reason why is because, well, the age of the internet and social media and Twitter and Facebook, we can all look up stuff and we can all come to our own theories and hypothesis and try to figure out, try to solve mysteries. I like doing that, I'll be honest with you. But that's another one that was kind of floating around out there about these last few years. And it really spiked up again about when the Last Dance documentary hit up. So Jordan's been around there for a couple times. The other one of the more popular ones, it's kind of sports related based, but it's not really, involving an athlete or a game. It's a location. It's the Jimmy Hoffa legend that his body is buried at Giants Stadium. Jimmy Hoffa, if you know, back in the Teamsters, was he murdered and buried beneath the surface of Giants Stadium? That one's been out there. That one's still out there. So that's a popular one there too. The one that I'll be honest with you, I didn't know a whole lot about, and we actually have the poster of this up in the studio, but it's the Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston fight. And there is an urban legend, and this one kept popping up, and again, I didn't hear about this one, but it was, you know that iconic image where Muhammad Ali is standing over Sonny Liston. We all have that's the poster we have in the radio studio here. But the punch that I was reading a little bit, the punch that knocked Liston out has become known as the quote phantom punch, because it definitely wasn't enough to knock out a pro boxer, according to some people out there. And some people believe that Liston owed the mafia money. So he bet against himself and he took a dive. That one's kind of been out there a little, and I did not know about that one. Another popular one out there has been Babe Ruth. Did he actually call a shot? This one might be the most well-known one. I mean, how many of us, when we were kids, whether it was in the backyard or heck, maybe we even had the courage to do it in a little league game or something like that, but how many of us playing in the backyard, playing on a sandlot with our friends, did we call our shot? I mean, heck, Jake Taylor even did it in Major League, for crying out loud. But we all did it at some point, whether we were a kid, right, just goofing around. We all called our shot. And it sparked from this. Babe Ruth's called shot for a fifth-inning pitch in Game 3 of the 1932 World Series. Babe Ruth pointed his bat at center field bleachers to declare that he would hit it there. And the next pitch, he did. That's been up to, did that actually happen? Did it not happen? Over the years, has it just kind of ballooned into something far greater than what actually happened? And given the time period, we don't have a lot of film and photos and accounts kind of confirm a lot of that stuff. That's how these legends and these urban myths kind of just balloon and create themselves and get larger and even more, awesome to read about or listen to. And sticking with baseball, this is one that I found out about a year ago, and I had no idea. It was in a podcast. And honestly, I haven't finished the podcast, and I should. But it involved Cal Ripken Jr. It involved Cal Ripken Jr. and his consecutive game streak. And I had never heard about this, but apparently it was a thing. I mean, maybe it might have been more so in Baltimore and that, but I had not heard about this until this podcast came out. And then, when I was kind of refreshing my memory last night on some of this, it popped up again. But the rumor is there was a game in 1997 that was called off because, or delayed, I should say, to the next day because there was issues with lighting in the stadium. And this was going during Cal's streak. I believe it was the Mariners they were playing. But the rumor is that the lights were purposely, like altered or cut or, not working, quote unquote, because Cal had punched Kevin Costner. So his hand was a little, banged up and all that sort of stuff. Why did he punch Kevin Costner? Apparently he caught Kevin Costner in bed with his wife. That's the rumor. And so the rumor is then that it just sparked in after that is that the Baltimore Orioles, had a power outage to keep Ripken's streak going. I've seen boatload of things now too. Like, was he actually arrested? Was he in custody? Was his hand, bruised up, or he couldn't swing a bat? I don't know. But that one has just kind of gone all over the place too. And listening to that podcast and reading some of the stuff out there, it's like, holy cow, that I'd never heard about that one. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of baseball ones. There's one out there too. I remember shortly after the Kurt Schilling bloody sock. Was it actually bloody or not? It was that performance with the Red Sox, and we can all picture the bloody sock, right? But then there's some people that have doubted it and asked, well, was that actually a bloody sock? Was it a bloody sock or not? I think they've got that sock displayed somewhere, don't they? They've got it displayed somewhere. I'm sure they could easily do the DNA testing if they wanted to. Another one that, and speaking of baseball, was did Bud Selig know about Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire's steroid use in 1998? Did Bud Selig know about it? Kind of kept it hush hush because we all know that, that helps spark back baseball and get interest back in baseball. And yeah, that's been a popular one. And I've seen the Wade Boggs one too, where did he drown 64 cans of beer on a cross country plane trip? I mean, Wade Boggs, that guy has been. There's that one, that urban legend. He's superstitious, where the guy has like chicken before every game. He's involved in a couple of other ones out there. And there's other ones, but I try to come up with my list on here the ones that kind of were repeated, the bigger ones out there. You got like the Madden curse. I think that's kind of dumbed down just a little bit, or it's gotten quiet a little bit. But for the longest time, I mean, there was the Madden curse. There's the Sports Illustrated cover curse that people talk about. I think that's kind of, again, it's quieted down a little bit. But you look at that Madden one, and during a time, you could say like, well, Michael Vick, Mercer Falk, Dante Culpepper. It's like, ooh, yeah, don't go on there. So SI had the cover jinx a little bit too. But yeah, there's some good ones out there. But I think my two personal favorites are the Rockwood Lodge one, even though Cliff has said no. It's no. Still intrigued with that one just because it might be it's like it's a Green Bay one. In fact, I mean, there's some great ones about Johnny Blood. I know I've mentioned him before, but there's some great urban legends about Johnny Blood and McNally if you want to look it up. And maybe one of these days we'll kind of deep dive into that. But there are some great ones about him jumping on a train and hitching it to practice, scaling a hotel wall. And there's some ones about Curly Lambeau back in the day. I mean, it sounds like the 30s, 40s were just nuts. I mean, when you factor in some of those great Packer stories, and then you factor in some of the baseball talk out there, I mean, it just seems like it was nuts and just kind of a free for all. So you got those. Those are my favorite ones. But I think I keep going back to the Hoffa one. Like, you'd think they would have. I don't know. I don't think they would have found. Who knows? Who knows? But it's definitely one of the greatest urban legends in all of sports. And if I missed any, just hit me up, okay? I'm sure I did. But if you have a favorite, though, too, hit me up. Okay? We got to take a quick break. Coming up, we'll finish up the second hour of the program. Got a couple more questions coming for you. We'll hit those up coming up in just a couple minutes.
Dan Kasper Show will be right back after these words.
Carpet City Flooring Center here in Eau Claire for helping out grandma with her new carpet in her living room in the hallway over there. They were awesome to work with from the beginning to the end. Grandma keeps talking about the customer service from everybody over there, from when they came in for the quotes, and then throughout the whole process, putting the carpet in and that, just it was awesome. She was really impressed, and the carpet looks good in Grandma's living room right now. So big thanks to Carpet City Flooring Center for helping Grandma out there. And if you're in the market looking for some new flooring, you don't have to really look that hard, because it's at Carpet City Flooring Center, Wisconsin's premier flooring store. So check them on out. Head on over there, whether it's carpet, tile, luxury vinyl, they got it. You name it, they got it all, including the awesome Ridge and Max flooring over there too. So if you're looking for that new floor, if you're thinking it's about time to update some flooring in your home or office or business, wherever it may be, head on over to Carpet City Flooring Center right here in Eau Claire, and then you'll get to work with the awesome team over there with Aaron, Matt, Ben, Jason, everybody over there. They're fantastic people, awesome people to work with over there. So keep the text coming. Our internet isn't really working right now, but it should be. Hopefully I'll refresh it here. I think Twitter's even down too, right? Is Twitter down? Maybe not. I don't know. Oh, okay. It looks like Twitter's back. No, TweetDeck's at least down. I don't know, but maybe it's just my computer and I'm having some internet issues here a little bit. So, but hopefully it'll be back up here in just a little bit. So keep those texts coming while my computer tries to figure out its life here. So next hour, I want to hit up a couple more things that we threw out there in the earlier part. The 5 people you would want to be stuck on for a bus for a week. We've gotten some good picks out there. A little fun question there. Hit those up if you haven't. And then the quarterback who would have had a different career if drafted by a different team. Now, we can go a couple different ways with this. We can go, well, their career would have been better if they were drafted by a different team, or maybe their career wouldn't be as good if they were drafted by a different team. Like I'll say, I don't think Aaron Rodgers. I think if Aaron Rodgers is drafted by the 49ers, Aaron Rodgers is not Aaron Rodgers. Like, he doesn't have the career that he's had so far. That's my belief. I think a lot of people just assume Aaron Rodgers was great right away. And if you remember those first couple of years, even Aaron talked about it himself, but a lot of the writers over there, the first couple of years, he was struggling in practice, struggling in preseason. That's where I know a lot of people don't like to give him credit, but Mike McCarthy had a pretty decent hand in kind of developing Aaron Rodgers into the quarterback that he was now. I mean, you remember Aaron was holding the ball up by his face mask. I mean, his feel was just off a little bit. McCarthy did have something to do about that and really kind of, helping Aaron Rodgers develop into the quarterback that he is today. But I believe that, if Aaron was drafted by, maybe he would have had like an Alex Smith type of year. And that's where I do give, Alex Smith is probably the exception to the rule, because how many times have we seen quarterbacks drafted early, and if they don't produce right away, or they're not putting up numbers, regardless if it's them or the team, they're out of there. Well, Alex Smith stuck around for a while, and Alex Smith, had himself an okay career, or a decent career, a better career than a lot of quarterbacks have gone on to have. But I don't know. I feel like it was the perfect opportunity. Like, if Aaron was not drafted by Green Bay and he was asked to play right away, I don't think he would have had the career that he's having right now. I don't think he would have 4 MVPs and all these records and statistics and that sort of stuff. I'm a believer in that. In terms of a player, a quarterback that, maybe if they were drafted by a different team, would they've had a better career? There's 2 recent ones that I kind of go to. One is Josh Rosen. That's the big one for me. Like, I don't know. I drafted 10th overall by the Cardinals. obviously up and down rookie year. Then he gets traded because Cardinals have the first pick in the following draft. They go with Kyler Murray. He goes to the Dolphins. He goes flip-flopping around. You just kind of wonder if he would have been like if he would have gone to a team like how Aaron was drafted, where he wasn't, kind of learning from a veteran and sitting for a couple of years, would his career have turned out better? I guess you could kind of make, would you put Sam Darnold into that? I mean, top pick. He was supposed to be, everybody thought he was going to be the number 1 overall pick by Cleveland. Ended up being Baker Mayfield. He goes to the Jets. I mean, that mess of a situation over there in the Jets. And then he goes over to Carolina, which isn't that much better. Sam Darnold, is his career better? There's a lot of players you can pick. I mean, but if we go back, you put Mitchell Trubisky in that situation too. Could, I guess. How much do you factor in Trubisky, or is it Matt Nagy and the Bears? I mean, we can come up with different ones. If we want to go a little bit further back, I mean, do you go how much especially with like the expansion teams or some of the newer teams, like a Tim Couch, who was number 1 overall with the Browns. I mean, you can look at a lot of Browns quarterbacks, right? You can look at a lot of different Browns quarterbacks and be like, ooh, if they were just drafted by a different team, maybe they would have been better. You look at Tim Couch. You look at David Carr from the Texans. Those guys that David Carr going to an expansion team. Was he really set up for success right away? You got a couple of different ways to go about it. So we'll see what everybody else has to say once the texting line is working here a little bit later on too. So, but if you want to make your picks, otherwise you can hit us up on Facebook and Twitter and on the YouTube live video stream there too, while this texting line figures itself out here this morning. So we'll hit that up. We're still looking for your predictions for this Brewers and Giants series, and just how big is this series in your opinion, in terms of like, are you looking at this series looking for the Brewers to get some momentum heading into this All-Star break? Are we making too much about momentum at this point in the season? I mean, how big do you think this series is for the Brewers, this 4-game set against the Giants? They're still 2 up in the division against the Cardinals. But it feels like quite a few Brewers fans are looking at this series like, all right, let's win this thing. Let's take at least 3 out of 4. Let's get into this All-Star break on a positive note. And then, because right after that All-Star break, there's an opportunity to maybe go on a little bit of a run here. You got 4 games against Colorado right after that. You got your 2 more games against Minnesota, all at home. Then you got a quick trip to Boston. But then you got Pittsburgh, Cincinnati right after that. And you're kind of looking like that's a stretch where you're going to have to collect a lot of wins, because starting on August 9th and all the way through the 24th, you're only going to have 1 off day, and you've got games against Tampa Bay, St. Louis, the Dodgers in 2 series, mixed in with the Cubs there too. It's a tough stretch. So give me your predictions. All that good stuff. All right. DP I thought we were done here. We got 1 more hour to go. 1 more hour to go, baby. 1 more hour to go. We'll be back after these quick words.
WAYY Eau Claire. W286CK Eau Claire. Sports.
Hour kicking off on this Thirsty Thursday. Good morning, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in to the Dan Kasper Show on your radio dials. 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online at sportstalk1051.com, where you can also check out or get the link for the video stream over there. Otherwise, you got your Google and Alexa home devices and the Sports Talk app. Quick update on the Open leaderboard right now, as some of the golfers are already done with their rounds. Cameron Young is the clubhouse leader right now, and overall leader at 8 under par, shooting at 8 under in the first round. You got Cameron Smith and Ernie Els, the veteran, tied for second right now at 5 under. Rory must have just bogeyed here. He's in a group that's tied for fourth. At 4 under. Ian Poulter, who got some booze here earlier this morning, he's in the clubhouse at 3 under, along with Bryson DeChambeau, also at 3 under. Lee Westwood, 3 under. Xander Schauffele is 3 under. Just kind of going through some of the bigger names. Justin Thomas is 2 under right now. We got Webb Simpson 1 under. I'm just kind of scrolling through the updated one here. Phil is in the clubhouse. That's even par. Dustin Johnson's at 1 under. Patrick Reed, even. He's done for the day too. Tiger is going to be teeing off in less than an hour right now. About 8:59 our time. So he's got one of the later tee times for today. John Rahm has yet to tee off. It's David Duvall in the field too. Right, David Duvall. I used to be a David Duvall fan as a kid. I liked it when it was like him and Tiger battling it out for the number one golfer, and that was just David Duvall. Well, oh man. Spieth is also going to be teeing off later today too. So still got some big names to get to hit the course. What the Open at St. Andrews, the 150th. 150th. Okay. If you haven't made your picks yet, you can do so for the Open. But I went with Rory, and I think Tiger finishes in the top 20. A little optimistic, but I'm going with Tiger finishing in the top 20. Rory's my guy though to win it. That's who I'm riding with. Looking for your predictions for this Brewers series. We get Corbin Burns on the mound tonight. Brandon Woodruff's going to get the start tomorrow. Then it's Eric Lauer. Then the Summer of George continues on Sunday with Jason Alexander. 4 games against the Giants before their all-star break for the Brew Crew. How important is this series for the Brewers? Do you think they've got to kind of, go into the break on a high note, get some momentum, or do you think we're making too much of it? All right, great. If they get that momentum, it's going to go away anyways because they get 4 days off. Can't ride that momentum. Brewers currently 2 games up on the Cardinals in the division. So hit me up with some text there. I'll open up the texting line here in just a little bit. See if we got any picks over there. We threw out a question. I took it from CBS Sports. I saw them in their account, CBS Sports Football, yesterday, about which quarterback, if they were drafted by a different team, would their career turned out differently. And, we can do it in a positive and a negative sense if we wanted. So I threw out some names. I even threw out Aaron Rodgers in there too. Threw out a couple of other ones like a David Carr and, maybe like a Tim Couch or Josh Rosen, Mitchell Trubisky, if you want to go a little bit more recent type of players there. So, but if there's anybody else, send those babies on, or maybe a little bit older school, I guess. It'd be fun to think about. Go back to the 1989 NFL draft? That was let me bring it up here. I want to make sure. Yeah, the 1989 NFL draft. How things would have changed if Green Bay would have had the number 1 overall pick. We talk about who Green Bay selected with the second pick. Tony Mandrich, because you had Aikman first, then it was Barry, then Derek, then Dion. But what if Green Bay would have had the first pick? Or what if Dallas drafted Barry Sanders? Heck, maybe they drafted Tony Manders. What if somehow Green Bay drafted Troy Aikman? How different would his career have been? Would it have been better, worse, same? How different would Green Bay's, kind of outlook look? There's a what if there. I mean, we always focus on the Tony Mandrich and the Dion and Derek Thomas and Barry drafted after him, but what if Green Bay ended up having drafting Troy Aikman? If that were the case. A lot of other stuff would have had to happen, and I get that and understand that. But, you think of Aikman, you think of Cowboys, but what if that would have been different too? I mean, there's a bunch of other stories we can talk about quarterbacks that thought they were going to go somewhere, and they ended up going different and all that. But I'm trying to think of some other ones off the top of my head right now. And I mean, you could go to that draft with, I know I mentioned Couch, but like Achilles Smith and Kane McCown. Oof, that was something of a draft there. Whoo, Nelly. That was some issues. That's why drafts are such crapshoots. I mean, some we know are just like, oh yeah, we know that guy's gonna just be a stud, or that's like a for sure thing. Like Andrew Luck was supposed to be the best quarterback prospect coming through the draft, like the best for sure quarterback coming through the draft since John Elway. Well, Andrew Luck, I mean, he looked like he was going to be a good quarterback. Was a good quarterback when he was healthy and playing, but he's going to stay healthy. Ended up retiring early. I don't know what Trevor Lawrence is going to turn out to be. We've been talking about Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has been talked about as a high draft pick since his freshman year at Clemson. And he goes into a crap situation right away his first year in the league. Goes to Jacksonville where his coach is Urban Meyer. And look how that mess turned out. So Doug Peterson, I think, will have a positive effect on Trevor Lawrence. But, I mean, we were talking about Trevor Lawrence's freshman year. Like, if the draft didn't have that thing where you had to wait 3 years since being out of high school, maybe he would have been number 1 overall pick after his freshman year. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was talked about for how long? And then, well, I hope he turns out to be a great quarterback. I hope he turns out to be a good quarterback. And I think hiring Doug Peterson, having Doug Peterson working with him is going to be a positive influence, but you just hope it works out and that he's got talent around him, surrounded with him, and he'll be okay, and that he'll end up having a good career. And who knows with Tua? Tua is, I think this is the prove it year for Tua. Got to see something, right? Got to show it. Justin Herbert's already kind of showed it. He's already kind of proved it. Joe Burrow's already been to a Super Bowl, so Joe Burrow might have been in that conversation if Cincinnati hadn't been doing anything. But Cincinnati, pretty darn good team right now, coming off their Super Bowl appearance. But there's other quarterbacks that we haven't kind of spoken or mentioned. I'm sure I'm forgetting right now. So, hit those babies on over. One would have been interesting too. Like, what if Russell Wilson, he was a 3rd-round pick. So, you think about that draft. I think it was, same year that draft. 2 guys were drafted in the 3rd round, I believe, off the top of my head. Let me see if I can pull it up here. But Russell Wilson and Cousins. So, what year was this draft? Let me bring it up here, just really quick off the tip of my tongue. So, 2012 NFL draft. I remember sitting through that draft thinking, you know what, Russell Wilson would be cool to have as a backup. That was when Green Bay lost Matt Flynn because he made some dough and he signed over to Seattle. I was like, let's get Russell Wilson as a backup. That'd be awesome. Well, he gets drafted in the 3rd round to Seattle. And then, where is he? Okay, so he was a really 4th rounder. But then Kirk Cousins was drafted with the 102nd pick, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, seventh pick in the 4th round by Washington. And Washington, if you remember, in the 1st round drafted RG3. Well, Russell Wilson is still playing at a high level. Kirk Cousins is still playing and getting paid a lot of money. But you just kind of wonder, like, man, if those situations would have played out differently. Like, what if RG3 never gets hurt? If RG3 never gets hurt and he's still playing at a high level, is Kirk Cousins making his $30-35 million a year with Minnesota right now? You know, another quarterback, too, that we could throw into this conversation, Sam Bradford. Would you throw him in there? I know he had to deal with some knee injuries and that, but remember, Rams, Sam Bradford, that situation. Jeff Fisher's over there, too, and that. It was kind of a mess. Would you throw Sam Bradford into that conversation? It's just kind of interesting to think about how careers would have been so different that if they would have just been drafted by a different franchise. Like, there's that I think it's true. I definitely think some of these quarterbacks that were drafted high that, you know, went into some bad situations, poor situations, and it might not be 100% their fault, but their careers are ended short because, well, they got put into a bad situation. They put up some bad numbers, and nobody's giving them another shot. You know, nobody's really putting them in another system to give them another shot. Or they bring them in, but they've got them so far down in the depth chart that it's just impossible for them to get opportunities and to get some work in to showcase what they really got. Yeah. But you got any more, you can hit me up, okay? We'll get to that throughout the rest of the program. And then don't forget, too, the 5 people that you would go on a bus for a week, 5 people you've never met before in your life that, you know, you're going to get into an RV with, one of those traveling buses, the tour buses, 5 people that you'd you know, shack up with in that bus, if you will. We had some good ones out there. I'll tell you my 5 coming up here in just a few minutes, too. But we'll get back some baseball talk, too. I want your predictions, your thoughts on this series against the Giants. Brewers splitting their 2-game set against the Twins yesterday with Josh Hader giving up that walk-off 3-run shot. Are you concerned about Josh Hader and his performance in the last about month-ish? Or are you like, you know what? Like he said, it's baseball. It's life. Players are going to go through some stretches. Nobody's going to be perfect. He wasn't going to throw a 0 ERA throughout the whole season. Nah, I don't have any concern about Josh Hader. Which side are you on this whole thing? We'll take that break. And then coming up, I'll open up the texting line, see if we got anything in there. Otherwise, we'll get back to some more baseball chat, too. Predictions for this Giants series. Split. Brewers take 3. Giants take 3. Or sweep by either team. Let me know. All right? We'll talk about it after these words.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
is back. The second annual wrap things up here on this Thirsty Thursday. We only got one more day left, and it's finally the weekend. Anybody got any good plans? Well, we'll talk about that tomorrow there. But let's cover some of the bases over here. So, looking at last check-in at the leaderboard, not a whole lot has changed on the open leaderboard. Cameron Young, the leader, 8 under. He's in the clubhouse. Cameron Smith also in the clubhouse, 5 under. But Rory McIlroy tied up with him. He's still on the course right now. A lot of the leaders are off the course and in the clubhouse. Tiger will be teeing off here in just a few moments, so we'll see what he has. But I'm going bold prediction. I got T-Dub finishing in the top 20. It's probably a homerism pick, but I have T-Dub finishing in the top 20, and I've got Rory winning it. Those were my picks at the beginning. So hopefully, I got to get one right there. As we mentioned, Brewers and Giants start their 4-game series before the All-Star break. Starts next week, but tonight's game, gonna have to stay up a little bit later. 8:45 first pitch. You can check it out on the radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Remember, only the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Coverage will begin about 35 minutes prior, so about 8:10. We talked some Bucks with the news. Chris Middleton having surgery on his wrist. If we get Dr. Crow on tomorrow, we'll talk to him about that. But there's some reports that they're saying the Bucks expect him to be ready by the start of the regular season, but there's some doubt from others that he will be ready for the regular season. Fingers crossed, though, that he will be able to go. Pat Connaughton, he's going to be sticking around for a couple of years, signing a 3-year deal with the Bucks. He did opt in, but gave him a new contract in 3 years for there too. So we talked some Bucks, and I mean they're pretty much just bringing it back, running it back with a lot of their key players from last year. We kind of took a look at that. Unless they make a big trade somewhere else, like if they decide to move on from Brooke Lopez or Grayson Allen, I don't know, but it sure seems like this is the team that they're going to be rolling with into the 2022-23 NBA season. Hopefully back and getting another NBA championship. What else do we got out there? Some other stuff. NBA, speaking of the NBA, Adam Silver endorses or is in favor of lowering the NBA age limit from 19 to 18 years old. He said it's the right thing to do. If you remember back in 2005, the league raised the age limit from 18 to 19 and as we just said 2005 there, but he said that I think there's an opportunity to change it. It's based on larger conversations than just whatever we go from 19 to 18. But I'm on record when I balance all these various considerations. I think that would be the right thing to do, and I'm hopeful that that's a change we make in the next collective bargaining cycle, which will happen in the next couple of years. He also said that it may be the case that it's in all of our interests that we start impacting with these young players, especially because in our sport they are identified at such a young age, and begin working with them on their development then, not just basketball skills, but increasingly there's a focus on their mental health, their diets, just helping them build character and all the important values around the sports. He was talking about starting to interact with those younger players at a younger age. So, got the commissioner that's in favor of lowering the age. I'm assuming then with that, I mean, I got to imagine that would, with the whole high school to the NBA draft thing, that alter it there too. Something to watch, and not going to happen for the next couple of years or so. But what else do we got out there too? Some of the other stuff. Not a whole lot going on in the green and gold world. Anybody going to be checking out their? I guess it's called their road trip, Packers road trip. I know they're kind of going to be around the area. Thorpe, Hudson, Wausau. Anybody going to check out? Tremont Williams is on there. Scott Wells, I think, is on there too. Anybody got any plans to check them out? I don't know if I know they're doing some surprise stops. You'd think Eau Claire would be a good one, right? On the way to Thorpe to Wassa. Surprise stop right there, just on 29. I mean, come on, you guys want to make a quick stop in the studio over here? I'm all about that. Just give me a heads up or something. Give me a little heads up. Aaron Popke, PR guy, you got to be with Martin Murphy right now, I got to imagine. So, well, give me a shout. Okay, what else do we got? Tomorrow we'll do a transition 3. We got a little feel good Friday. We'll recap game 1 between Brewers and Giants. We'll take a look at round 1, and round 2 will already be going on for the Open when we're on the air tomorrow. So we'll take a look at that too. Brandon should be in, so we'll catch up with him. It's been a little bit. He was over there at for that Twins and Brewers series in Minnesota, so we'll get his thoughts on that, and hopefully we'll get Dr. Crow on too. Definitely want to talk to him about that Chris Middleton injury. I think that kind of surprised a lot of people. Like, he just decided to have, and maybe there was reasons for it. I know we've talked about it. Him and I have talked about it on air before, the different reasons why, athletes or people kind of hold off on surgery or wait and that. But yeah, hopefully we'll get him on and kind of talk about that Chris Middleton injury, because it seems to be, different timelines being floated out there right now. Phil Mickelson reacting to Tiger's opinion. Tiger's opinion on the Live Golf. Phil saying, I certainly respect his opinion. I have a lot of respect for him. I respect his opinion. I think everybody's going to have strong emotions and opinions about it, and I certainly respect his. So, really, I mean, nothing was said there, right? Nothing was really said there. That's going back to the comments that Tiger said the other day about the golfers on the Live Tour and the tour itself, criticizing it and criticizing some of the players over there too. But I guess Phil just did those coming off the course, those comments there. But all right. Well, okay. So yeah, tomorrow we'll get to some transition 3, some feel good Fridays. Brandon will be on, so I'm sure we'll be chatting about a bunch of random stuff, as we usually do when he's on. Oh yeah, and we talked about some of the best sports. God, urban legends, I think, is the best way to describe it. Those urban legends out there. A lot of you picking the Jimmy Hoffa one. I got to go back through some of these texts, but when we did it, a lot of you picking the Jimmy Hoffa one, buried under Giant Stadium. A couple of you did pick the Jordan suspension one. Was he suspended or was he not? The whole baseball thing. So why is my phone going off weird there? But yeah, most part it was the Hoffa one was probably the most popular one than the Jordan. Did he actually get suspended or not? Kind of going through some of them. A couple of you did pick the 19 the White Sox, the 1919 World Series. Whether that was actually did those players, I mean, if anybody's seen the movie or if you know a little bit about it, there's some questions whether did Shoeless Joe Jackson ever, did he take the money? Did he take the bribes? Did he try to throw the World Series? There's been some people questioning about the Black Sox scandal. Was it really a thing? Was it, did everybody take the money? Did everybody take the bribes? So, but yeah, that was another one out there too. But all right. Forgot to mention that one a little bit earlier. That came through. A couple people mentioned that one. If I've missed any other ones, hit me up though on Twitter, okay? Hit me up on Twitter or Facebook and send those babies on over. There's some good ones out there. Oh, just got another one. Yeah, we had some good ones too with some of the movies. I know I forgot to mention this one. Let me see if I can find it. This is from Brett in regards to the biggest sports myth. Did Al Cervic really break his arm in Caddyshack, allowing Danny to take his place in the top secret money match? Good pull. Solid one right there. Thanks for for sending that one, Brett. A couple other the quarterback ones. The quarterback that if they were drafted for a different team, if they were drafted from a different team, would their career have been different? Whether it was a positive or negative, we had a Matthew Stafford pick. We had a John Elway pick, an Eli Manning pick. Anyone on the Browns from the last 20 years, a couple of David Carr picks. Texans quarterback there. Kind of all across the board. David Carr was a popular one amongst the Texans, just kind of scrolling through some of them. Josh Rosen was another popular pick on here. Did have a couple of Mitchell Trubisky picks too. We did have a couple of Mitchell Trubisky picks. I mean, he's got an opportunity this year with Pittsburgh. We'll see if, going to an organization with Pittsburgh and maybe sitting behind Josh Allen in Buffalo for a year will help him out there. Speaking of football, the one story, too, that's out there that, I think it's fair to say, maybe not fair to say, it's a bold prediction. This is going to be the final year of Mike McCarthy in Dallas unless he wins the Super Bowl. Because now there's a story out, there's a report out that Sean Payton has his eye on like 3 openings for next year, if they become open. Miami, which I don't think will become open anymore. The Chargers, unless they just completely fall flat on their face this year, and they want to bring in an offensive mind to work with Justin Herbert, and then Dallas. So it's like, Dallas was the target, was the instant connection already for even this year. I feel like Mike McCarthy, he's just if he's out after this year, unless they win a Super Bowl, and it's going to be Sean Payton, unless something really, really, I guess, bad happens with the Chargers where they don't live up or play up to those expectations, and Brandon Staley's out of there, and they decide to bring in Sean Payton to have him work with Justin Herbert over there. But yeah, I think Mike McCarthy's like either win it all, you're out mode right now for Dallas. That's going to do it for us. DP and Adanitz, they're up next. Have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. We'll be back at it again tomorrow morning, just past 6 a.m. We'll talk to you then.
You're listening to the Dan Patrick Show on WAYY Eau Claire.